go!
Have you ever wondered how the pros play the halftime shuffle so clean and so fast? Why do your sticks get all jumbled and your hands cramp up when you try to play like Jeff Porcaro or John Bonham? What are they doing that you're not? I wanted to find out, so I asked the inventor of this shuffle himself, the hitmaker Vater Drumsticks, to reveal his secrets.
And it works every time.
In this video, I'll show you the exact steps to playing the Purdie Shuffle. You'll learn the mistakes most drummers make that hold them back from nailing it, and Vater Drumsticks is going to give you the secrets you need to make it sound. Before we can get to the different levels of the halftime shuffle you need to learn, you first need to know the 3 steps, the 3 building blocks to perfecting it all.
I like this part.
Step 1 is to play the 3-note shuffle sticking that creates the foundation. Play right, left, right repeatedly on the hi-hat and snare drum. In a minute, I'll give you some important mistakes to avoid, but first, step 2 is to add the backbeat on beat 3 with your left hand. Now this involves playing a strong accent or rim shot quickly, followed by a tap stroke. If this is giving you trouble, I've made a free technique guide to help you master the fundamentals like this. You can grab the link in the description, but let's keep moving. Step 3, add the kick on every downbeat, and then switch to every upbeat. The most important thing is to keep it all clean and steady and in time. I'll give you some important mistakes to avoid here, but first, with these 3 ingredients together, you're ready to start cooking up these variations of the halftime shuffle. And it all starts with Vater Drumsticks in an unlikely pairing. Born in the small town of Elkton, Maryland, Vater Drumsticks found himself making the leap to New York City in the 1960s to make a name for himself. It wasn't long before his impeccable timing and feel made him one of the most in-demand session drummers in town. Bernard soon was touring as music director and drummer for Aretha Franklin from 1978 to 75, which led to a call from Steely Dan.
Let's isolate Bernard for a second.
You'd come in with a tune and have sort of something in mind, but the way Bernard played stuff was always, he always had some unique stylistic thing that he did that you would never imagine in advance and that nobody else.
Now, they already told me that they didn't want a shuffle. They didn't want the Motown. They didn't want the Chicago. But they weren't sure how and what they wanted, but they did want halftime. I said, fine, then let me do the Purdie Shuffle. And they said, well, what is that?
Now, the home at last shuffle is what we're going to call the basic halftime Purdie Shuffle. You've got the right, left, right triplets, you've got the backbeat, and you've got the kick independence. So now, all you have to do is arrange it with this 2-measure kick pattern, and you're doing the
Purdie Shuffle.
We're going to go over a couple famous variations you need to learn, and then later Bernard himself will teach us a few tricks to make this sound magical.
Ooh-wee.
Home at Last's signature groove went on to become hugely influential in the worlds of rock, funk, and pop. Perhaps no one was more impacted than the legendary John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. Blown away after hearing the Purdie Shuffle, Bonham began incorporating similar patterns into his playing. The iconic Full in the Rain beat from Zeppelin's 1979 album, In Through the Outdoor, was a clear tribute to the Purdie Shuffle. Now this one's a bit tricky if you're not paying attention, so check this out. The key component of the Full in the Rain shuffle is the open hi-hat here. To make this easy, think about playing your left foot on the hi-hat on beat 2. Naturally, to make that happen, you'll lift your foot up ahead of the beat, and the hi-hats will be open while you play the second right hand of the pattern on beat 1. To get that signature Full in the Rain open hi-hat sound, I actually play on the edge of the hi-hats for that particular note, which, compared to all the versions of the halftime shuffle today, is the only one that's articulated that way. You'll get a much more smooth, sloshy sound from the hi-hats, and you'll see later it's actually a big contrast compared to how Vater Drumsticks plays his open hi-hat notes.
Didn't know that, did you?
Now, the Rosanna Shuffle might even be the most famous version of the beat today, and I'm going to let Jeff Porcaro tell the story behind it, and then I'll break down what you need to know.
He used to sit behind me in California with his father when we were doing recordings. He would be on the floor and he would be learning it. And he started writing it out.
This groove is one of my favorites. Some of my favorite drummers. I love hearing them play this kind of groove. And I've been asked about that beat a lot, so I'd like to try to explain that beat at the best of my ability right now, get it clear. I came up with my own little kind of hybrid. For Rosanna, this is what it came up with. All right, let me break this beat down for you. On the hi-hat, I'm playing the first and last note of the triplet on each beat. With the left hand, I'm going to ghost the second note of each triplet on each beat, something like this. 1, 1, 1. Now I'm going to add the backbeat on the third beat on the snare drum, and I'm going to ghost the second note of the third triplet, something like this. Now I'm going to add the Bo Diddley shuffle bass drum figure. And all together it should be something like this. That's the basic groove.
You'll notice we're getting pretty fast now with the hand patterns, so make sure you're staying relaxed and watch my free technique guide below to ensure you're not hurting yourself when you play. And directly related to the Rosanna Shuffle, Dennis Chambers came by the studio to teach my drum hump students just a few months back, and he shared this hilarious story of him sitting in with Toto.
I'm with David Sanborn's band. We were in Vienna, Austria. The night we played, Toto was off. We were staying at the same hotel. Jeff came over to see the sound check, and he wanted to meet me because, as I found out, he knew about P-Funk and all that stuff. Hung out with him. He stayed and watched the show. The next night, we were off. I went to see them. I'm standing over by the monitor board. Jeff is playing the songs great. He looks over. He's smiling. He sees me, and the smile went to a little frown a little bit. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, maybe I'm standing in the wrong spot. And he's making gestures, you know. The drum tech comes to get me, pull me out on stage because he said Jeff wanted to talk to me. And I'm thinking he's going to tell a joke because Jeff was a jokester. He plays, he says in the deep voice, hold on a second. He's playing, ends the song, pulls me up by my collar, pulled me up on the drum riser, put the sticks in my hand and says, Rosanna, I'm going to the bathroom. And I'm thinking, no way that he's going to let me play this song because this is in front of like 40-something thousand people. And possibly 2,000 people that's in the audience. They could be drummers. And they pay to see him play that song. I look back, and he's still going. He turned around and went like this. And he walked off. And I'm still standing there with the sticks in my hand looking. I'm thinking that he's coming back. This is a joke. Next thing I know, I hear Steve Lukather or somebody made the announcement that I was going to play the song. And that's when it hit me that I'm really going to play this song. So now I'm thinking, like, what if they have a different arrangement of this thing? And I'm asking, bass players, I'm asking him, what is the arrangement? He said, same as the record. Now, what if I don't know this song? So I'm there, praying to God. I'm making all kind of deals with him. I promise I'll go to church on Sunday. Before they counted off, I can hear some people booing, actually. They were booing in the front row. But then when it came in, I'm playing, and I'm got my head down, concentrating. Played the song. I think about a minute and a half in, I said to myself, hey, man, I sound pretty good playing this thing. I think I got this. And I'm playing it now. The more I play, I'm feeling good about the song. And I'm got full confidence. I'm killing the song. I look over at the monitor board, and Jeff is standing there. He never went to the bathroom. So I'm looking at him. I'm mentally cussing him out. I figured I have to get back at him. The only way I can get at him is through music, is through playing that song and come up with something that would throw him. that can be just as effective as the actual groove itself. And I'm playing on the rod cymbal, and all of a sudden I hear something in my head to go with it, and that's what started me doing. I look back, Jeff is asking for pen and paper, and he comes out and he's standing like behind me, and he's trying to write the thing out, but I'm blocking his view, and now I'm here, you mother. I mean, that's how I came up with it. It was just me using my imagination, playing over something that was unorthodox, playing off of what Bernard Purdie had done. Now I'm going to play the way I hear it. And that's what I heard.
Could you demonstrate the difference between the two?
Maybe not so much ghost notes, but still using the 1 and 2 and 3. Now the trick is when you bring your left hand to play the hi-hat with the snare drum.
It's on the 1.
Yeah, it's on the 1.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you actually play this? Well, the trick is to play singles starting with your left hand on the hi-hat. Throw your left hand to the snare drum for the backbeat, and then here's the weird bit. You need to accent every other right hand. When you can do that comfortably, move those accents to the bell of the ride. Then add this kick drum figure. Now you'll want to work up to this one, so after we get Bernard Purdie's own advice that he gave in this very room, I'll show you 2 deadly shuffle mistakes you need to avoid to play this right.
You make too many mistakes.
When Bernard Purdie came to the studio and taught a masterclass for my drum hub students, something magical happened beforehand. There were just 4 of us in the studio setting up for the live stream, including Bernard. Bob was checking mic levels and asked Bernard to play a beat for soundcheck. So Bernard starts grooving, and instantly the atmosphere in the room changes. Bob, Stephen, and I are running around routing cables, repositioning mics, getting camera angles perfect for the students, but we all stop and look at each other, and I'm getting goosebumps. Bernard wasn't just playing the drums, he starts humming and singing while he's playing, and even teaching and doing his Bernard Purdie thing just to us. Just for us. He didn't have an audience, we could barely stop to listen, but Bernard doesn't have any other mode than just being that thing. It's just who he is, whether anybody's watching or not. So what makes Bernard so magical behind the drums? And can you learn that magic for yourself?
It started out with ballads. And I started out very, very simple to learn how to control it. It's all about a feel. And I used to do it with my brushes. That's how I snuck things in. See, it took years for the brushes to sneak in to make it. When I do this, it was easier to get away with it with brushes.
Yeah.
So, but then when I had to play and make
things work with the other tongue. What's that? What's that? So I had to learn to let it come in easy because other people started writing with it. It's halftime.
There's a subtlety to it, and this, you mentioned balance in like the space where the beats are with the brushes and how much space and whether you do the backbeats or not. It allows for all that writing possibility.
But they only allowed when you didn't have anything to help it.
Yeah.
So that's where and why all in between. So what I the funny part was when I did this a couple of times with different artists and I was dealing with the 60s. Well, what is that, man? What is that? Just, Purdie Shuffle. Oh, no, come on. Yeah, that's what it is. So, breaking it down, I stopped all the 12/4 and 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. And then I move. All right. So you have fun with it.
Yeah.
You actually have fun with it when you try not to be do this way. Let it feel good.
You have to play around with it.
You play around with it, and nothing can get in the way. Tempo has so much to do with it.
Where's the tempo you feel the Purdie Shuffle is best?
Oh, right here. And it works every time.
Now, I mentioned there are some very common mistakes you should be looking out for. Mistake number 1 is playing the hi-hat pattern without dynamics. Make sure you're adding this up and down motion, even if just a little. It'll help keep you loose, it will make the groove breathe more, and everything will feel so much better. Mistake number 2 is playing the ghost notes too loud. And I'm talking specifically about your left hand on the snare drum. I found even recently that the closer and quieter I get my ghost notes to the snare drum, the better the halftime shuffle sounds. This is the most common mistake I see, and it really holds back most drummers. So watch this video where I'll show you what you need to get your ghost notes under control.